This is Leroy Trusty, and I want to talk to you today just a little bit about how do I capture my class? How do I make sure my class I can get it finished without having to expand beyond spring break or end of the semester? I know that's a lot of discussion among faculty and staff members. How do I do that? And it happens at every school, especially with the way the snow and the weather has been lately. And I came up through a system of adult learners, an adult learner myself, and so it was always a challenge to make sure that our classes were met. And we did all kinds of things. We met anywhere and everywhere that made sense to the instructor that we had. And with that, as an instructor, I've had some opportunities to teach in places that's not normally a classroom, be it back of an aircraft, a C-130, to being in a coffee shop somewhere, or even at the outside group of tables at Chipotle's. And so we found different ways that we could teach a class and really get the class involved, only because we were trying to make up classes or make up times. There's always different reasons for that, especially when you're teaching at a campus that's strictly adult learners. Now, with that, we got a college campus, and of course, we've got to try to figure out how do we make up the time, the seat time that we have with our students. Well, one of the ways that we can do that is we can do that through course capturing or lecture capturing or maybe meeting with our students at another time other than what's been scheduled. I know that's kind of a challenge with some students. Students have some issues with that. So that's the reason why we have a learning management system like Blackboard, so that we can put in our discussions and we can put in all of our lectures and we put everything there that the student needs to have to work on the class. So with that in mind, what I want to do is I just want to go over some things that we do have, tools that we can complement the Blackboard. Because I always like to use Blackboard. I like to use chat. I know I've had a problem, at least on this computer with Blackboard, trying to get the chat to work because of Java. For some reason, Java's not seeing, it's not jiving, if you want to say that. And so those are some issues that we have to deal with when we look at course capturing. So I have some tools here that I want to show you, just a real quick and easy. So hopefully that this time my mic's working. I've recorded this twice and my mic hasn't worked, and I've had to go back in and tweak it a little bit. But anyway, I want to make sure that you guys have this because, again, another day a class has been canceled, and we're seeing this in the public school systems and are trying to figure out what to do. And many schools are going back to the route of let's use some of the tools that we have out there, like Twitter, and we have possibly a learning management system, or they're even using some that are out there, like Edmodo, for instance, which is free to any academic institution. That's very simple, very basic learning management system. So with that in mind, let me just go over a couple of things. I did have to show this, though. This is what attractive men tend to drive. And I just feel sorry for the mail truck. But besides that point, one of the tools that I use to capture some lecture, and that is I use, uh, in this particular case, it's SoundCloud. SoundCloud is strictly audio. And really what it is as you record this, in this, and you got the app on the Apple and the Android as well as on the computer itself. You have an app and you have the capability of recording straight to SoundCloud. There was a time when you couldn't. But here I've got a screenshot from my iPad and I've got the record button, and so I can do a voice block. I can do a lecture for as long as I want. I can do a lecture and I can capture that, and then I can send that link on Blackboard. I can send that link through Twitter. I can send it through text messaging. Remind 101 is a good way of texting out to your students. If you have your students register, you can text out information to them immediately. They can't text back to you. They don't have your text number, and you don't have to have theirs. So those are some tools. That is another tool out there besides that, and we'll talk about that in another video. But in this case here, you've got SoundCloud, you record, you put the link out there, you can embed that into the course itself. And that's what makes this nice. I can just do an audio, and a lot of faculty, they just have a hard time with putting on a hat, a hoodie, and and just speaking into the camera. So that's what I use. SoundCloud is one of my options that's out there to use. It's free. The other option that I use is YouTube. I use YouTube quite a bit. We have Vimeo, we have an account, we can talk about that. The only difference is Vimeo, I have to have the recording already to upload it into Vimeo. Whereas this case, with my tablet, all I have to do is I have to go into it, and using an app, there's a separate app for this. It's also within the tablet itself. It's called Capture. I can capture my lecture. I can capture video of myself, or maybe a video of something else that I'm talking about. And I can capture this and I can put it straight into YouTube. I can put it in there in a private aspect, go back in and edit it, and then put it out to the public or unlisted. I prefer unlisted myself, and I just provide that link to students or whoever needs to look at that. And so that's what I use. It's a good way to just get that information out there, find out what's going on. As far as with the students are going, they can see some of the lecture, they can see some of the discussion that you may have. Some options with this, and get into this a little later too in another discussion, and that is there's nothing like getting a few students together, say, look, I'm going to be at Starbucks, or I'm going to be at Panera Bread, or I'm going to be at Wegmans on this particular time at this particular date. Come to class, be ready to talk. And you can sit down and start lecturing. The students doesn't, you have a lot of students that may not make it, but you may have some that like to sit around, drink some coffee, drink a soda, eat some sushi. You can do that. And with that, by having YouTube available and the wireless there, you can go ahead and record the lecture, and then that can be pushed out to the students that weren't able to make it, and you make up some of that time that's lost. And that's some of the ways that we do it. Again, going back to SoundCloud, you can sit around the table, have your computer set up, you can be talking between yourselves, the students wise, and this gives an opportunity to give some people an idea that they've participated. And so with that, another tool that's out there, and this is called Mighty Meeting. I'm going to show you this here in a minute on the web, but this is just one of the products out there that I can use on my PC as well as my tablet, and that's called Mighty Meeting. And what I can do is I can invite the students in, I can do the sketchbook, I can write some things, I can take some pictures, and then I can keep changing pages as I keep going. But in the process, record this so the students can always go back and review it again. And that's what I like about some of these tools, is the fact that it's recorded. I can go back and I can review it, and I can go back and review it. That's another thing too about Blackboard Chat. You need to record it so that the students have the accessibility of going back and seeing what other students have said, because sometimes we miss that in some of the lecture. Now with that in, also another audio only product is this. And this is a Turnkey Studio. Or Turbo Key Studio, I'm sorry. This is an app that's for the iPad. It works. You can upgrade it if you want so they can push it out in further places, but otherwise you just get the link to it. You can embed it into the class that you're teaching. That's just another tool there. I haven't really used this one because it takes a few more steps and I really want to bother with. Another one out there, it's an iPad document or an iPad app, and it's called BuyaBoard. You can't find it for your PC or anything. It's not there. I like using this one because, for instance, if I wanted to communicate with, let's say, the group FETC down in Orlando, what I would do is I would set up my BuyaBoard, and when I was talking about using cheap and free multimedia tools, this was available to me. And so I could use this, I can write on this, I could draw on it. People that wanted to join in could also add their views, their points of views and such. And so what you do is you set this up so that, for instance, I have a board name, and if this person has this app loaded on their iPad as well, they can see this. I can put in a password if I want. The next thing that I do is, of course, I have all this information here of what all I'm expecting here. The meet number here up top, I'll show you that. here in just a minute. Okay, that's the meet number. So you type in 899-155-7044 and buy a board, and now you've come into my meeting, and then you can add to that board as well. So if I'm having a discussion or maybe a lecture or something online and the students that are listening to this, they can also participate in whatever, this being maybe a whiteboard, put this on the smart board so that they can see that. So with that in mind, I want to show you some other products that are out there. One of the tools that I'm using right now to record this is called Screencast-O-Matic. You can download it if you want onto your computer. You're not going to be able to download it on the campus computers, but your home computer, you can download this. If you want to have an account, log in so you can keep track of all your lectures, you can do that. Just start recording. There's just a few things that you may need to have. Make sure you have a good camera. Make sure you have a good microphone. So that's, again, another tool that's out there available. I talked about the Mighty Web, Mighty Meeting. This is one of those tools. Again, I can use it on my tablet as well as I can use it right here as on my desktop. So I can upload some files, I can host a meeting, I can tell the students, look, it's Saturday afternoon or maybe Sunday afternoon at 5 o'clock or 8 o'clock or whatever. I'm going to be online. I'm going to be online for this time, from this time, and I'll be entertaining some questions. I'll be discussing some things with you. Here's where we are, and we can get on board with this. And so, and then of course another one that I just found out about, a large university in Florida uses this because they didn't want to pay the price for some of the collaborative tools, especially if it meant trying to save, trying to talk to folks and trying to communicate with them, because you can go video on this, you can go whiteboard on this, you can share your PowerPoint, you can invite people, they can get into chats, they can type in things, not too much different than what Blackboard has. This is information out there for them. So you have this information, you can download this on your personal computer. Don't ask to have it downloaded on your campus computer. Some campuses and at other schools, they are really into this. I'm going to hold off here on this, but if your personal computer and you want to be home, you can get in, and the other person does not have to have this downloaded on their computer. All they have to do is they can dial in, they can log in, and they're seeing what you're talking about. So whatever it is that you're doing. And one of the last things I want to talk about before I close this out, and that is Bamboozer. Now I like to use Bamboozer for login. I've got an app on all my tablets. I also have it on the computer at work because basically I don't have to download anything for this. Okay, it's right there. It gives me what I need. And what I can do with this is all I have to do is I log in with my Facebook profile, or I can use whatever else I want to do. I can log into this, and then what I can from there, I just get into what it is that I want to do as far as publishing to get out there. And so you may see this on a couple of products. I'll have another one out there that's strictly that. But I can have them in my chat room in Blackboard, and I can have them also in this. They can chat in this. They can communicate with me while I lecture. So if I've got, let's say, a split screen, I've got my Blackboard open and I got the chat room open. They can be typing their responses. I can be answering them, or I can do it as well as in Bamboozer. And again, it's a free tool that's available out there. It really makes it nice. Okay, there's a lot of tools, there's a lot of ways that we can capture these classes. We can get these classes back together. May mean that we have to work a little off schedule, and but get ready to have those students listen to your lectures, have them read the books. When they get to class, and they're ready to work. With that in mind, that's what I'm going to leave you with, is what Bamboozer has for us, and we'll talk to you later.